Tina Turner had to flee the US, go to Europe, all to avoid the black community and their toxicity. This is why I say when black women are serious about their advancement, they will separate themselves from the black community. They will have to. And I said this in my live and revenue rush hour, and it was such a great conversation. And I said when black women are very serious about gaining capital, gaining ownership, and winning in a system and just maintaining peace, they will make it their mission to get away from the black community. They will make it their mission to grow individuality outside of the community. Because what they'll learn is all skin folk ain't kin folk. If you want a better life, you will have to expand beyond the black community. If you want more resources, if you want more cash, you need to expand beyond the black community. This means stop limiting your business to only black people. Stop limiting your dating to only black people. Stop limiting everything down to the black community and understand individuality and expand. This will open you up to much more opportunities, much more capital, and much more cash. We are the only group without a wealth code. The only group. We don't have a wealth code and we don't respect the wealth code. Our code is always found in the trenches. Our code is always found in suffering. Our code is always found in low standards. This is why such thing as gaining capital, ownership, wealth building, leadership is so looked down upon in our community. But things such as a BET Awards or things such as a Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl is seen as the standard of high level excellence. It's because, again, we don't have a wealth code. Our code is literally found in low standards. And this is why every group has been able to surpass us, is because they have a wealth code. This is very transparent anytime you hear a black person try to argue how black capitalism is so detrimental and now black capitalism won't save black people. It's like, why are you so against black people creating wealth and capital for themselves? And that is why I say when you are a black person and you are serious about advancement, you need to separate yourself from the community as soon as possible.
And she's 100% correct. I don't think that she said any one thing. And you know me, I like to find the flaws in what people are saying, but I don't think that she said any one thing that was not ideal, did not make sense, that wasn't 100% on top of things. Yes, but let me add in some caveats. It's all about mindset, right? Because first you have to condition yourself to accept the fact that the minute that you then leave the mindset of the thing that's keeping you down in the first place, that people are going to reject it and they're going to call you names and they're going to call you a sellout and they're not going to be able to accept you, which isn't a bad thing because don't nobody want to go to the barbecue anymore. We tired of having diabetes. We don't want to have the mindset of the people that continue to be under duress. I'm not about to still be in the hood where they're trying to kill you. We've seen those examples. Nobody wants to continue to be under duress, and that's the key. The minute that you make up in your mind that you want better for yourself, whether that's going where you're accepted, going where you're celebrated and accepted, and not where you're tolerated as far as the dating pool, because the minute that you then go into these other communities, which is not exempt from black people being in, right? When you go into these other communities, what you'll find is that it's not just white people and Asian people and Indian people and people, Hispanic people and Arabic people. There's other black people there also. You know, when I went to, the conservative ball during Trump's inauguration for black people specifically, there were white people there also. As crazy as that sounds, there were white people at the black conservative ball. And everybody was having a ball. Everybody was accepted. There were people there with other black people as spouses. There were people there with other white people as spouses. And nobody cared. And what I found is that the common denominator was mindset, culture, and wealth. Mindset, culture, and wealth. Meaning that the people that were there were more focused on building than they are about separating themselves from other people. And the only thing that they were focused on is separating themselves culturally from people that continue to keep you down and prevent you from being successful. It's similar to when you go overseas. It's similar to, when you start to elevate in corporate America. You'll see other people. Sometimes you'll see other people that look like you. Sometimes you won't. But the thing that you bond over is not the identity politics aspect of it, but it's we're both going in the same direction and we're trying to be successful. I've always said, and I told people this on the Millionaire Morning Show, I've always said that people then sell themselves as, hey, listen, I'm a black owned black owned business. They limit their customer base because if what if, think about it from this lens, because you got to remember, if we 13.6% of the population, then that means that you're cutting off about 86%, 86.4% of the rest of the people that could possibly buy from your buildings. When I go, right, let's say, because I'm a silent investor in some other restaurants and stuff like that. And even when I opened up and I was running my own, right? The majority of the people, and people hate to hear this statistic because for whatever reason they think that it's a sign of pride when only black people patronize you. The majority of the people that came into my restaurant, despite it being in a predominantly black neighborhood or predominantly black area, were white people. I would say it was probably 70-30, 75-25 white people to black people. What if I had limited my offerings and separated myself by saying I'm a black owned business, which then alienates or could possibly put people in a position where they say, well, why are you even bringing identity into this in the first place if the thing you're trying to offer is the best food? But people shoot themselves in the foot every single day because if the goal is to generate wealth, if the goal is to be more successful, then why do you have to limit yourself, which is a form of prejudice, it's a form of bias, and it's a form of racism because you're trying to separate yourself, which I'm okay with because all you do is tell people who you are, which then basically tells them that they shouldn't patronize you. Because if you seen a business and it said white owned business, you would avoid it like the plague. And just because they don't say it out loud does not mean that they are not absolutely taking into consideration the fact that you are the one that's trying to separate yourself and you don't really care for other races of people and you'll cloak it by saying, well, I only or I prefer or just because, I'm celebrating black people don't mean that everybody else don't matter. Okay, you keep doing that and see how that works out for you. Decades and decades and decades and decades we've seen people try this same narrative and it doesn't work. You keep talking this black nonsense and it doesn't work. It's about mindset. It's all about mindset. And I'm going to go, and I encourage other people to go where they're celebrated and not where they're tolerated. Go where it's not racism. Go where it's not people that's trying to divide you against other people. Because hate God has no place in my space at this point. It's negative. It's draining. It prevents you from continuing to grow. You limit the opportunities and the things that you can learn from other people. It's so many valuable people in this world, but we only want to be in a space where we're affirmed by somebody that is born to look like something that they were not even able to control in the first place at all. At all. And it's unfortunate because it limits you. You're the only one that suffer from it. And she's absolutely correct. We keep getting these tokens. You keep getting these events that they then make you feel good about yourself, but you continue to be in a mire and you don't get any results. And the community continue to get worse off, and the gap between you and the next community continues to get wider. But you don't want to ask yourself the question, and you're so busy trying to make sure that you feel good about yourself by being in the mud with a bunch of other people that's rolling in the mud with you, and ain't nobody getting clean. Let me know what y'all think about our video. I always like to give credit to the content creators, so that link will be down in the description. Also, tab into the Patreon, link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.